everybody. Matt over at Safari P. I'm glad you could join me today. This is one of my favorite webinars to do. It's buying new computers and buying new technology. I love this webinar. I love technology. I'm a technology evangelist, been using computers since 1985. So I really love it, and I love doing this webinar. And a lot of people contact me asking me my thoughts on what computer they should buy, what tablet they should buy. So that's what we're going to be going over in this webinar. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you are probably watching this webinar after the fact, and if so, you can participate just like the people who are here live. You can just simply email me, training@sfrep.com, training@sfrep.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'm also going to give you my direct contact information. I don't put it on the screen. I don't have a card made for it right now, but if you want to get your pen and paper ready, the telephone number for me directly is area code 828-919-9082. That's 828-919-9082. Now, you can call that number, but a lot of times I'm busy and I just won't answer. Feel free to leave a message, but what I really would like for you to do is to text me at that number. So you can text me directly, 828-919-9082. We have this fancy voice over IP system because we all work from home. And so even after hours, I'll generally answer any questions that you guys might have that come in through text. And what you can do is go to the store and like Best Buy or Staples or Costco, wherever. And when you're looking at a computer, you can text me some photos of it and I'll give you my opinion and see if it will be what works for you. Spoiler alert, there are some great sales going on for Black Friday, and I found one that is fantastic. So I'll show it to you here in a couple of minutes. But it is going to be a Black Friday deal where it's currently, the week of Thanksgiving. So these deals are going on right now. So if you're watching this after the fact, it may not be available at that point, but if you're watching this during the week of Thanksgiving, this will be available to you. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we recommend. Now, we're first of all, we're going to talk about computers, and then we're going to talk about tablets, because I know there's a lot of people questioning tablets with the new U83.6. What tablet should I get? We're going to go over that. But first, let's take a look at our specs that we recommend. All right, so Appraise-It Pro will work on pretty much any computer that is on the market right now. However, what I would recommend, these are my minimum recommended specs. Always buy more if you can afford it. Okay. But let's start with processor. Used to be processors were really kind of a weird thing that a lot of people, just didn't understand. The cool thing now, there's two main processor manufacturers. There's, of course, Intel. We have all heard of Intel. And then there's also AMD. AMD's been making processors just as long as Intel. In fact, I kind of like their processors better. They make great processors, and they make great what's called systems on a chip. Nowadays, you don't have to have separate cards in your computer or whatever for graphics and all that. It's all built into the processor. So the graphics that are built into the processor on the AMD processors, fantastic. Really, really like the AMD processors. But the Intel Core processors are great too. So the cool thing is that AMD and Intel have kind of gotten their numbering scheme in parity with each other. So a Core i3 is like a Ryzen 3, a Ryzen 5 is like a Core i5, etc. So what you need to know is that there are levels of processors in that Core line. And I mean Core generically, not Core like Intel Core. So in that Core line of processors, basically they go in levels. And so it starts out with 3, 5, then 7, then 9. The 3-level processor is aimed at, younger students, maybe elderly, people that are just doing some work at home and want to do some shopping every once in a while, check their email. The 5 is aimed at business users and power home users. The 7 is aimed at gamers and power business users. And then the 9 is basically aimed at gamers. Don't buy a 9. You're wasting your money. But a 7 would be great if you can get it at a good price. But a 5 is completely and totally acceptable, and that is what I would recommend. As a matter of fact, my laptop is a level 5. It's a Ryzen 5 processor. All right, so we recommend a Ryzen 5 or an Intel Core i5 processor. You'll also see that they all have different things tacked onto the item, a Ryzen 5 AI or a Core i5 Ultra. Ignore that. Just Core i5 or a Ryzen 5. RAM minimum we would recommend would be 8 gigabytes of RAM. But once again, if you can afford more, get it. I prefer 16. I think that's a good happy medium. But if you find one that's 32 and it's in your budget, grab it. Always get as much RAM as you can. And remember that with a lot of these laptops specifically, you can't upgrade the RAM. It's soldered to the motherboard. So get as much as you need or want at the time that you buy it. We're going to go over desktops too, but this weird thing has happened in the market because there's more demand for laptops. So laptops are cheaper because they make more of them because they're just in more demand. So it's this weird thing where it used to be laptops were way more expensive than desktops, but it's kind of flipped at this point. And keep in mind that a laptop is now desktop power, and you can just connect additional monitors to it. You can connect a external mouse or keyboard. So a laptop gives you that flexibility to take it into the field or take it on vacation. So you can do a working vacation if you want, but you can also use it like a desktop. Next would be storage. When I wrote these specs a couple of years ago, first of all, solid state drives were kind of new. Now that's all there is. They don't make hard drives anymore. Mechanical spinning hard drives. Solid state drives are chip based. They're extremely fast. And if you have an older computer, getting a solid state drive will probably be the biggest thing that will make a speed difference in your computer. Computers now can boot up within 20 seconds and be ready to go. Whereas with a hard drive, it could take up to 2 minutes. So big advancement when they move to chip-based solid-state drives. 256 gigs would be my minimum recommendation. And at that level, that would be a secondary computer for you. So if it's just a laptop that you want to be able to take out into the field, but you still have your desktop at home, 256. If you are going to be replacing your desktop computer, this is going to be your primary computer, go with 512 or higher. Be great if you could find a terabyte, but 512 or higher if it's going to be your primary computer. But once again, if you can afford it, get as much as you can. Keyboard. With a laptop, it's going to have the keyboard built in. Definitely go to a store and ask to see the computer. Now, keep in mind that the computer that you have your eye on, it may not be on display, but they probably have a version of it on display. And what I mean by that is that they'll often reuse chassis on computers. The actual shell of the computer gets reused, and they put different specs inside of different models, but it's the same computer on the outside. So just find that same chassis, try out the keyboard. You type for a living, try out the keyboard, make sure you like how it feels. Keep in mind with a laptop that you could put an external keyboard on there, and with a desktop, the keyboards that come with the desktops are kind of garbage anyway, so you're probably going to replace it. Get yourself like a nice gaming mechanical keyboard, something that feels really nice to type on. But with your laptop, that's the keyboard you get is the one that comes on it. So just make sure that it feels good to type on. Remember that you're going to have some muscle memory, so you might make mistakes at first when you're typing on it. But what you want to just feel it, make sure it doesn't bow. When you press on it, make sure that the keys have good travel, that it just feels nice typing on it, okay? But the other thing you're going to want to look for is the 10 key, and that is if you have a full-size keyboard on your desktop, that's the number pad on the right-hand side. Make sure that your laptop has that. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world, but you guys deal with numbers a lot, so you're probably going to want to have that it's called the 10 key, the number pad over on the side, okay? And then finally, we're going to want to look at connections. It should have at least one USB-C port, preferably at least two. And then if it has the older style USB-A, make sure that well, at the time I wrote this, I would say make sure it's USB 3.1, but they all are at this point. So that's kind of changed. All of the ports are going to be USB 3.1. So you're going to want to have ideally two USB-A, which is the older style USB, the kind of USB port we've had for decades, and then the newer USB-C, the USB Type-C ports, the little smaller ones, the one you probably have on your phone. So make sure it has at least one of those, preferably two. Okay. So what we're gonna let's go over tablets real quick. People often ask me, with UAD 3.6 coming, what tablet should you get? And the answer to that will really depend on what you want to do in the field. If you're wanting to go into the field and you are wanting to do LiDAR scanning, what is colloquially called scan to sketch, where you will hold your phone or your tablet and kind of, scan the room with the LiDAR sensor. This is an iPhone 16 Pro, and that is the LiDAR sensor right there. And what LiDAR is, you can think of it as radar with light instead of with radio waves. And so it's going to put dot patterns, an invisible laser dot pattern on the walls. It's infrared, so you can't see it. But then it's able to measure the distance to each of those dots. And it's crazy how it's able to do that, but it's able to do it thousands of times a second. And so it knows where it is in space, and it can measure all of the walls and everything. So we have an app that's going to come out next month in December called Instaplan. We're going to integrate with Instaplan. It's made by a company called McKenna. And it's an existing app already. They're just working on the integration right now. You can get it in the iPhone App Store. You can walk around a house and sketch it just by walking from room to room and pointing your phone at the walls. It's an amazing app. I'm going to have some webinars we're going to be doing on that app once it launches. But if you want to be able to do that, you're only going to be able to do it on an Apple device, because the LiDAR sensor is only on Apple devices. Android doesn't have LiDAR sensors at the moment. So you're going to need to have an Apple device, and it's going to need to be on the iPhone. It has to be a Pro iPhone, so an iPhone Pro or a Pro Max. Has to be an iPhone 12 Pro or Pro Max or later. So the current 17 is fine, 16 is fine. And then on the iPad, it's going to need to be an iPad Pro. And I meant to bring my iPad Pro in here, but I don't. But it has the same sensor. If you look on an iPad Pro, it's got that same LiDAR sensor right there. Okay, so you can use the iPad Pros as well. However, if you don't care about the scan to sketch, if you are just going to collect data and do your photos and maybe do some sketching the old-fashioned way in the field or not in the field, we also will have the Apex Portal app, which will run on Android and iOS and Chrome OS and Windows and everything. And at that point, you can get an Android tablet or phone and do that as well. So if you want LiDAR, it's got to be a Pro phone, a Pro iPhone, or a Pro iPad. If you don't care about LiDAR, it can be the base model iPad, the iPad Air. It can be an Android tablet. If you get an Android tablet, I would spend a little money on it. Don't get one of those bargain basement doorbuster ones. Get something that's, over $300, something nice that you can take in the field with you, that's going to be nice and fast, that's going to have, it's going to be able to be able to keep up with what you're doing and not be all laggy. So you're going to want to spend $200 to $300 at the very minimum on an Android tablet. Or you can get the A16 base model iPad. I think it's on sale right now for like $100 or $280. It's dirt cheap. Highly recommend that one as well. Okay. So let's take a look at what's available on the market right now. And this is what I have pulled up right away. I was getting ready for this webinar and saw this on the Best Buy website, and man, talk about a deal. $430. You're getting an HP OmniBook, which is their high-end computer, their high-end laptop. It is a 2-in-1. So what that means is that it can, let's see if I can get you a picture of it. So it can become a tablet. It can basically fold it back on itself and become a tablet. You can also get a pen for it as well, but I don't think that's very useful. But if you want to, you can. But you can see you can tent them like this as well and use them like a desktop. Very versatile. And this is going to be the high-end version of this. So this is going to be an all metal chassis, 1080p webcam, backlit keyboard, glass touchscreen, glass touch panel, whole 9 yards. We're dealing with 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. It is a 16-inch, so a nice large screen for you to be able to see, 2K screen. So not 4K, but it's basically double 1080p. So a nice high resolution screen. It's the AMD Ryzen 5 with the AI. They call it a neural processing unit, an NPU. So it's got the AI capabilities built onto the chip. Wi-Fi 6E, which is not the latest standard, but it's the standard right below it. So it's, the Wi-Fi 7 right now is quite expensive. So it's got the highest end that I would expect to see on a laptop right now. 5 megapixel infrared camera. So that means it's going to be good in low light, and it's going to also do the kind of face unlock, kind of their version of Face ID on the iPhone. And this is your teraflops of the NPU. This is not that important right now. But that's for doing AI kind of stuff. So well-rounded computer. The only thing I don't love about this computer, to be honest with you, no 10 key. So you do get full-size keys, which is really nice for typing. So I'll give it a pass there. You are getting larger full-size keys, but you are missing that number pad over on the right-hand side. Other than that, fantastic computer, and man, you cannot beat that price. That's an $850 computer you're getting for $430 on a doorbuster. So this should be available at your local Best Buy, but keep in mind that they're running their Black Friday deals this week right now. So go ahead and grab it because it's probably going to be gone by Black Friday. But I know that they're probably ordering a ton of these. Highly recommend. That's a fantastic price. Jump on that for sure. But let's take a look at desktops real quick. Oh, you know what? Let's look at that iPad, that base model iPad. It's the iPad A16 is what they call it. It's the 10th generation base model iPad. Let's see what the price is on that. $280. Cannot beat that. So if you don't care about LiDAR, but you want to take a tablet into the field, man, $280 for a full-blown modern iPad. Jump on that. That is a fantastic deal. You should see that at the Apple Store as well. It should be the same price. You can also see that over at Costco or Staples, wherever you want to get your iPad, Target, wherever. Apple is good about always having the same pricing everywhere. So fantastic deal. $280. You can't go wrong. Let's look at desktops real quick. And by the way, if you have any questions, just use the chat in the YouTube app there. Or if you need to, you can always email training@sfrep.com if you're watching this after the fact. You're not watching it live. So let's do desktop PCs. See what we got here. Whoops. Nope, that's not what I want. This website's a little laggy. It's probably really busy right now. Let's try that again. Come on. It's just spinning. It's their website's slow. They're just like super busy right now. Probably. Let's do desktop PC. There we go. And of course, it doesn't help that I'm streaming 1080p video out of my home. But let's see. Okay, Black Friday deals. What do we got here? Intel Core i3, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig SSD. I mean, in a pinch, if you need to go cheap, that's a great price, but it's not a lot of power. I would say go with this one. For $550, you're going to get a Dell desktop, Core i5 Ultra, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage all day long. Great deal right there. There's an Asus here, Core i5, 16 gigs, 1 terabyte for $499. That's an even better deal. Although it's an Asus, I would go with the Dell over the Asus, but still, fantastic deal. Now remember, you're not going to get a monitor, but you probably have monitors, but you're going to get a keyboard and mouse. I got to tell you, I'm kind of in love with this wood grain PC that they have from HP. It's the OmniDesk, so it's their high-end desktop. Core i7, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte. So you're jumping up to a 7 instead of a 5 processor. So this is a well-spec'd machine. Still, $680 is not bad at all for that. I mean, that is usually a $900 computer. And man, I don't know. There's just something about that wood grain that I just love. That kind of, I guess that's like an oak finish. Man, I do love that dark wood finish. That is kind of sexy. So anyways, as you can see, computers, now is the time to buy this week specifically. Back to school is the other really good time to buy. So if you don't buy one now, get one as we get to the end of summer of next year, because that's also a great time to buy. Although usually it tends to be that the lower end machines go on sale during then, and then the higher end machines are going on sale, especially gaming computers are going on sale. There's no reason why you can't get a gaming computer. They're going to be high quality and really fast. Unless you game, it's going to be a little bit of a wasted money, but you're going to get a really high end computer for a good price. But man, I tell you what, that wood grain one for $680, it's not a bad deal. Keep in mind, we were just looking at Best Buy. Also check Target, check Staples, check Office Depot, Office Max, all your regular places, Costco, that you would go and look for computers. Feel free to text me if you find one, and I can give you my opinion on it. Remember, that number is area code 828-919-9082. And of course, text any questions you might have or email me directly, training@sfrep.com or matt@sfrep.com, whichever one you want to use. Thanks a lot, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you travel safe and enjoy your time with your friends and neighbors and family. Y'all have a great rest of your week, however much you're actually working, and we'll see you next time.